KSL News at 4 starts now.
Good afternoon. Nicholas Rossi, the man accused of faking his death before fleeing the country to avoid rape charges, once again causing issues in a Utah courtroom.
That's because he refused to leave his jail cell. News specialist Shara Park joins us live from the courthouse in Provo. Shara, how did all this play out today?
Well, Mike and Debbie, there's a lot of interest in this case, so a lot of folks were paying attention, watching to see how this played out. But when Nicholas Rossi refused to leave his jail cell for this initial appearance in this rape case, it created a little bit of confusion between, there was a few minutes where the judge here at the courthouse in Provo was talking with the jail where Rossi is being held, and they couldn't figure out why he wouldn't come down. So eventually the judge had enough.
If he is ill today, then I'll expect him before me February 6th at 1 o'clock. If he's not ill, he has no reasonable excuse, I will authorize reasonable force to compel his attendance at his initial appearance.
Well, 36-year-old Rossi is charged with sexually assaulting a former girlfriend in Orem in 2008. He also faces complaints against him in Salt Lake County, Ohio, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. Rossi is accused of faking his own death and fleeing the country to go to Scotland to avoid prosecution. In 2018, the Utah County Attorney's Office says that he was connected to the Provo rape case after a backlog of DNA kits were submitted to the Utah State Crime Lab. But then in 2022, Rossi was discovered in a Glasgow hospital being treated for COVID-19, but he was using the name Arthur Knight. Rossi fought extradition on the case, claiming that it was a case of mistaken identity. He eventually lost that court battle after more DNA testing and distinctive tattoos were used to officially identify him. Now, Rossi appeared in court last week after arriving in Utah, again claiming his name was Arthur Knight, giving a different birth date than what they had on record, creating confusion in the courtroom then. Now today, refusing to leave his jail cell. His next court appearance is scheduled for February 6th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And as you heard the judge say today, he will authorize reasonable force to get him to court if he needs to. Mike and Debbie, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Shara, a lot more to come on this. Thanks so much. Well, the number of people murdered was up last year. Well, thanks for joining us. KSL Live at 5 starts now.
Coming up next on Live at 5.
With interest from around the world on a rape case here in Provo, the defendant, Nicholas Rossi, refuses to leave his jail cell. How the judge responded, coming up.
A change is coming for Utah County voters who want to mail their ballots back in. The county is no longer paying for return postage. We'll tell you why straight ahead.
A one-on-one with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints' newest apostle. Hear what he has to say to those thinking about leaving the church.
A 1950s era Sinclair in Logan being restored to what it might have looked like. I'll tell you what drives the builders behind it to do this kind of work.
KSL Live at 5 starts now.
Good evening. Our top story tonight, a criminal case that the world is watching. Nicholas Rossi, the man accused of faking his death before fleeing the country to avoid rape charges, refusing to leave his jail cell today for his initial court appearance.
News specialist Shara Park joins us live from the courthouse in Provo. And Shara, did Rossi give a reason why?
Well, Debbie and Mike, good evening to you. No, Nicholas Rossi did not give a reason why. In fact, it caused some confusion in the courtroom. You had the judge who was here at the courthouse in Provo, Rossi out at the jail, expected to appear online, and he wouldn't get in front of the camera. Take a listen.
Your Honor, Mr. Rossi declined today.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
He refused.
Well, 36-year-old Nicholas Rossi was supposed to make his initial appearance in court today for that rape case out of Provo from 2008. And he's facing similar allegations in Salt Lake County and in 3 other states as well. Rossi is accused of faking his death to avoid prosecution, fleeing to Scotland where he lived under the alias of Arthur Knight. In 2018, he was linked to the Provo case after a backlog of rape kits were tested. And then in 2022, he was found in a hospital in Glasgow being treated for COVID-19. Now, today, the judge told the attorneys in the court that if Rossi isn't sick, then he should be in court.
If he's not ill, he has no reasonable excuse, I will authorize reasonable force to compel his attendance at his initial appearance.
Now, a sheriff's deputy from the jail said he would go find out why Rossi was refusing to come out of his jail cell, but we never heard the reason for that during today's court hearing. The judge eventually rescheduled Rossi's initial appearance for February 6th at 1 p.m. For Live at 5 in Provo, I'm Shara Park.
All right, Shara, thanks. Well, new developments in the case.